Welcome back to my final report chart appraisal on Monday the 13th of June with Move Japan Market Analyst and Tech Markets. Let's look at gold, and we've still got this gold rally moving higher. It's now retraced more than 76.4% of the sell-off, and it looks to be just continuing really. I don't necessarily think, I still think that this is going to be a sideways range until otherwise, and it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out, because you've got all this resistance overhead. I'm sort of been talking about 1260, between 1260 and 1288. Arguably, it's not too far from that high of 1288 now, is it? That reaction high that we saw on the 16th of May. But then you get sort of towards the real highs of this range, where you get the big sort of resistance levels coming in. It's never closed above 1300, so that needs to be kept in mind, and sort of every time it gets to not far from there, 1290, it's actually sort of starts to find a sort of a resistance area in terms of a closing basis. So you need to just bear that in mind, that if you do see the market sort of just shying away from those sort of levels between 1200 and 1300, then that could be the start of it, because you've seen this unwinding move. Now you're up towards 65 now on the RSI. This is the point at which pretty much not far from where we got to at the end of April on the original run higher towards 1303. Stochastic's starting to roll over potentially, and I also pointed out in the Moore report a couple of times now this bear divergence RSI. It's arguably MACD lines, but not quite so much. But the RSI bear divergence is really interesting, I think, on the hourly chart, because higher highs, but yet you've seen the move sort of just failing to capture that momentum. So you're seeing almost creeping gains from that regard, and as to exactly how sustainable the market is in that situation remains to be seen. We've obviously already had a really strong run higher from sort of 1200 area. 1208 I think was low, 1206 was the low a couple of weeks, just under a couple of weeks ago, before we started to see the real strong move higher. So there is still the prospect possibly of this range continuing, which I believe it will, and if that is the case, then you're likely to see another retracement at some stage. Don't forget, we've got the Fed Wednesday. The gold price will be really reactive to the Fed, and with that in mind, I wish you good luck in your trading, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow.